Welcome to Danny Girl Art. I'm Danny, and we're going to start a fun tile today. I'm going to start with a Zentangle square original tile and a pencil. And let's start with our corner dots and connect to make a border. So one of the tangles I'm working with today, the main tangle, is Temari, and it is by Hiromi F. And you can find it on tanglepatterns.com and see the step outs there as well. So I'm going to pick my pencil back up and just make a wavy string from one diagonal corner to another. And I'm going to use my Micron PN and in black, but you can use anything. And I'm going to start towards the center, and I'm just using this as a guide for placement for Temari. I'll start with a large orb on the line, and then I'm going to make a V shape that has a little bit of a curve. From here, I'm going to make another orb that below it that's touching, and make another V. On the side, and I'm rotating my tile to make this a little bit easier to maneuver. Coming from behind these, I'll have another orb, another V, and I'll do the same thing on the other side. So I have a total of 4 orbs with 4 V's inside. At this point, I like to switch to a Micron 01, but you could stay with the PN. And we're going to round these edges along the top. So I come down and I make these little V's and I ink them in. So I like to redefine part of the line that's already there as I do this. That just helps clean up any little wiggles I might have. And for me, it just makes things flow a little bit more. Go with whatever you're comfortable with, though. Sticking with my Micron 01, I'm going to add little flick marks. So I'm pulling towards me, starting in the inner section, and very lightly, like a feather, brushing across the paper. I'm just pulling these little lines. And if you've never done flick marks before, I encourage you to turn your tile over and practice some on the back. And I'm going to give you a few different options on what we can do with the detail part of Temari. All right, so there we have our first beautiful tangle, organic, little bits of detail in there, really quite pretty. Moving back to my Micron PN, I'm going to continue with Temari along this line. So I'm going to just give you an idea, and let's maybe change the size up a little bit. Have this one be a little bit larger. And I'm going to just go in and start with the orbs. Now, feel free to either break the border or stay in the border. I usually tend to go out of the border. So rather than go out of the border today, I'm going to stay in just because it's something different for me. And I'll go and do the details in a moment. I'm going to do another one here. time I went a little smaller. And I'm going to do one more here. This one I'm going to do big. Very, very big. All right, so let's take a look at another way we can do this after I go in and do my V's. So I'll do my V's and go in and do my rounding. So I'm going to put my V's in first. And I'm going to move back to my Micron 01. I tried the PN, but for me, I'm just more comfortable with the 01 for this step. Take your time, enjoy the process. Remember to breathe. Don't hold your breath. It's very common when drawing. So for this one, I'm going to go in, just add like a little droplet, a little oval in each section towards the rounding. And then in the inner section, add some flicks. Just change it up a little bit. So you can come up with your own idea as well. Maybe you want a little Printemp in the top. Don't be scared to experiment and try doing things differently. Okay, so pretty. All right, I'm going to go in and finish these two, and I'll meet you back here. So I've completed these four, and I just went back and looked at tangle patterns, and Hiromi had one of these tamaris turned into a butterfly, and I thought it was really cute, and I have this big space here. So I'm going to make a tamari over here, but rather than using more circular looking orbs, I'm going to elongate them a little bit. So put one there. And here, still touching, but instead of having one on the top and one on the bottom, I'm going to put one here. And coming around here. I'll still go in and make my V's. Remembering to halaba and draw behind. Here I'm going to add and ink in a little oval shape. And have it continue out on the top. I'm going to switch to my Micron 01. drop in and fill in my rounding. Add a little spot at the top. And a few little flick lines. You might notice sometimes I go back in and redefine with the old one the entire line. I just do that when I need to. It's not something that I make a habit of doing everywhere, although sometimes it feels like I am. Well, that one I didn't. And on the top, I'm going to add a few little fescues. So I'm going to come around and end in a little teardrop or raindrop shape. You could do a Printemp on the top also. How cute is that? Adorable. Next, I'm going to add some Printemp, which is a headquarters tangle. And I'm going to simply leave it as a regular Printemp, but if you'd like to have a little bit more darkness, you could go in and add a little bit of weighting to it. I'm going to choose to use a Micron 01. I have a lot of dark areas here, so I want to have a little bit of contrast and have a little bit of a lighter area behind it. And I think I'm going to start with some Printemp, just turning my tile here, coming from behind, hollow buying, just drawing behind, and I'm going to have a few of these coming out. I'm probably going to start layering them. I'll see where my pen takes me in a moment. So I think I'll start to go in now. Start add a few more closer together. Some more overlapping, again deciding whether or not I want to stay within my border, go out of my border. And you don't have to be consistent with this. You could stay inside the border in some areas and break the border in other areas. Maybe one more here. So I'm just pausing in between and looking and seeing where I'd like to go in and add another one, and all of ours will look different, of course. All right, so that's my Printemps, and now that I turned it this way, I want to add another one right here, and I think I'm going to add one back here. And that's another good thing to think about, besides just holding it away from you at arm's length and looking. Rotating your tile will also help out with seeing where you want to maybe add some more detail. All right, so I'm going to, and we started drawing, gosh, I didn't even remember. I think we started with our tile this way, but there's no up and down with our tiles. And I'm actually, even though we started this way, I feel like I'm enjoying it that way at the moment, but that can keep changing as well. I pulled another little sample tile out, and this is Msst. And I'm going to use Msst in the remainder of this space here. So I'm just trying to decide which way I want to start. I think I'll hold it this way. And I'm going to start Msst, and this is another headquarters tangle. I like to start where I can see an open area. So I could see right here, there was nothing blocking it. So if you have that opportunity, it might be a good place for you to start. So you start with a little wavy line, and then at the bottom, add a few dots. And you're going to aura. Now your aura does not need to be the same length. Stagger and vary the lengths. So some will be longer, some will be shorter. So as I go in and do my next aura, I have this one longer. That one I did very short. So I'm going to continue and fill up this entire back section to the right and to the left here. And I thought about putting a different tangle here in this bottom section, but I'm just going to turn this tile, rotate it, and I'm going to do Msst in this section as well. You can see this Micron 01 is on its way out. This might be my last tile with it before I retire it. Sometimes I'll still save my old pens for hatching. Sometimes a less juicy pen is nice for that type of detail. Okay. So if there's anything else that you want to add, if you want to redefine your border, you could do that. But I'm happy where I am at the moment. So that is going to be all the tangling that I'm going to do. So let's start shading. I have a 2B pencil and a tortillon here. And I'm going to start going around the tamari. So using my graphite pencil, I'm going to add graphite going around the outside of my tamari. So I'm going to add all graphite along here. As well as the other side. And please feel free if you have a different way you want to shade, go for it. Also going to where the tamari are overlapping, This one is on top, this is behind. Add some graphite there as well. So a little bit right here. This is overlapping. And then before I start with my tortillon, the orb sections that are behind, the pieces that are behind the two that are in front, where the hatching is, I'm going to go in as well and add some graphite. So it'll make it look like these two are on top, the right and left are on the bottom. Always have the tile in a spot where it's comfortable for you. All right, so I'm gonna move to my tortillon, and along this outer edge, holding my tortillon at a 45-degree angle, little circular motions. I'm going to start to blend this out. And remember, we don't want everything to turn gray. We want to still leave the white of the tile in areas. So keep that in mind. And I'll go in and I'll tortillon some of the sections that I've added graphite on the tamari. Moving back on to around the outside and wherever some of that overlapping was of the tamari as well. Take your time, pause as you need to, pause the video as you need to, work at your own pace. There is no such thing as an appropriate pace. It's your pace. You don't need to be at the same pace as me or anybody else. You go with what is most enjoyable for you and what you're comfortable with. Okay, then I'm going to go around the outside of my Printemp. So the graphite is going on the Msst section. And again, I'll tortillon this. You might want to, on some of the overlapping areas of the Printemp, add a little bit of graphite. We have a lot going on with shading here, so I don't find the need to have to do it in every single section. Just do where you think it will enhance your work. So this little butterfly that I've made from the tamari, I'm going to add graphite going around the outside of this. Again, so the graphite is going on the Msst all around here. And if you're enjoying this on Tuesday evenings, Eastern time, I host a tangle club. It's from 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. It's a surprise tile in black and white every week. And it's $12 US, and we have such a nice group and a lot of fun and conversation and just a really great group of people. It's my favorite night of the week. So if you're interested in joining that, then send me a message. If you go to Facebook, DANIGIRLART, D-A-N-I for Danny, DANIGIRLART, you can see some of our past week's tiles that we've completed from Tangle Time Tuesday. And you can reach out to me there, and if you'd like to join, we'd love to have you. I'm going to add a little graphite up here. And underneath the bottom part of the wings, some shading. And again, you can go into other areas. Maybe you want to go into the tamari a little bit more. I like having some white areas, so I'm just pausing for a minute and looking, and this corner feels incomplete to me. I'm going to run my pencil along this corner. You may not want to do this if you went in with your micron. Probably don't need to. If you went in with your micron, maybe you want to add a little shadow on the outside of it. All right, so I think that I am going, nope, I'm not going to pause there. Add a little bit where these hatching marks are. Just a little bit of graphite. Not too much, and just pull this out a little bit. It's not much at all. There we go. That feels a little bit more complete to me. So rotate your tile, appreciate your work, decide which way you'd like to hold it to put your chop. I'm thinking I'm back to the way we started tangling. And I'm going to add my chop here. And my gosh, August 23rd. I can't even believe it. I've been off this whole summer. I am an art educator in a public school district, and time just goes by in the blink of an eye, doesn't it? So post your tiles on Danny Girl Art on Facebook. I would absolutely love to see what you've created, and maybe you went in and you changed some of the elements of this, and I look forward to seeing what you have done. And again, just a reminder, today we used Temari, we used Msst, and we used Printemp. Enjoy.